Hi everyone, I'm Charmaine and Hanli is with me. We were so looking forward to meeting you face to welcome you to PREDAC 2020, but unfortunately we will have to do this online today. So what Hanli and I are going to do, we're going to share with you what PREDAC is about and what you can expect of the course. What is PREDAC? PREDAC is the professional educational development of academics. It started more than 20 years ago already as a program to induct new staff members into the teaching and learning culture and practices at Stellenbosch University, both at institutional and faculty level. As Prof. Skoonwinkel mentioned in his welcoming message, teaching is one of the core functions at Stellenbosch University. Therefore, the university values your teaching role and your professional growth as a teacher. It is therefore a registered short course. All the details and implications of the short course will be explained a little bit later. The design of our PREDAC course is in line with the Stellenbosch University Teaching and Learning Policy. This policy promotes the professionalization of academics in their teaching role. This is linked to the notion of a professional university teacher, and it occurs through a range of professional learning opportunities, such as PREDAC, which provides both formal and informal spaces, as well as accredited and non-accredited courses for the ongoing development of academics as teachers. As academics, then, you will draw on the scholarship of teaching and learning to professionalize your teaching practice. Professor Skoonwinkel also alluded to the progression of your teaching role from being reflective practitioners to scholarly teachers who then become teaching scholars and eventually leaderly teaching scholars. Reflective practitioners think deliberately and critically about their teaching practice and systematically review and document their professional growth. Scholarly teachers draw on educational literature to reflect on their teaching practice and professional growth and move beyond personal reflection to observation and peer review of their teaching. Teaching scholars research and their teaching practice, document their professional growth with a view to publishing their findings and contributing to the body of teaching and learning knowledge. And the leaderly teaching scholars contribute to the body of teaching and learning knowledge through publication, and they provide leadership in the field of teaching practice, not just institutionally, but also on a national and international level. PREDAC is focused on becoming a reflective practitioner, and therefore you will see our outcomes is mainly focused on helping you to develop into a reflective teacher. We will also introduce you to other activities that will help you to progress with your teaching role. PREDAC was designed keeping in mind that we learn through experience, we learn through active participation, and we learn through reflection. The aim is therefore to allow you through a hybrid learning approach, and this means that we will incorporate face-to-face contact sessions, if it's possible again, with online learning. And the outcome is then to help you to reflect on being and becoming a reflective practitioner, leading to the formulation of your teaching philosophy at the end. We'll help you to contextualize your teaching and learning. We will help you to connect with knowledgeable others to create a professional network. This will also involve engaging in a community of peers to create mutual support. You will need to collaborate with your peers to refine your module design, and you need to share with peers by giving, receiving, and responding to feedback. And this will all hopefully enhance your professional growth. All of this is done in 7 phases, and Hanli will now go through the different phases to show you what is expected of you and what you will do through the course. Hanlie, over to you.
Hi, yes, I'm Hanlie Adendorf, as Shemane said. I'm a co-facilitator from CTL on the PREDAC short course. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and give you a bird's eye view of what happens in PREDAC with some detail as to steps along the road, just so that you have an idea of what to expect to happen during the course of this year from the start of PREDAC. So to do this, we're going to use the following graphic and hope that it helps us get a bit of a clearer picture. As you can see on the graphic, PREDAC unfolds from terms 2 to 3 to 4, in other words, the rest of the year, starting today. We have online activities for you to do in terms 3 and term 2 and term 4 with contact sessions usually towards the end of these terms, thus sitting between the online and faculty activities that you'll be participating in. So taking these step by step, I'm going to start by looking at term 2. And in term 2, you'll see that we have 3 phases running one after the other. So in order to get access to phase 2, you'll need to complete phase 1 and the same for phase 3. These 3 phases are your teaching perspective, your module storyboard, and your module's blueprint. So we're looking at you as a teacher, at the current situation happening in a module of your choice, and at your dreams for that same module that you have chosen to work with. For each one of these phases, we've got a set of online learning opportunities. These include different kinds of learning materials, text, for example, papers that you could read, as well as videos that will guide you through the processes. So for the teaching perspectives inventory, the first phase, you'll have to complete the online teaching perspective inventory questionnaire or survey. This is a standardized instrument available for use in the higher education context, and it's meant to give you an idea of what it is that your underlying beliefs and values around teaching and learning and how that happens are. So through the online material, you'll be guided to interpret the teaching perspective profile, which is a graph that will be made available to you as soon as you've completed your teaching perspective inventory. So you'll interpret this to give you an idea of who you are, how you think about teaching, and sometimes we might find some discrepancies here between what this tells us and what we're doing in practice, and these provide interesting fodder for us to think about why it might be like that. But through the process of completing and interpreting your perspective, you will then have something to share on the online forum. So upon completion of your interpretation, we'll ask you to share both your interpretation, your thoughts on it, as well as some reflection on what you've learned with your colleagues. And you'll interact and connect with your other colleagues. Shemane has already mentioned that PREDAC's also about engaging with our colleagues, in connecting and interacting with them. So you'll respond to some of what your other colleagues have shared there as well. In phase 2, we'll look at your module as it is at the moment. Here, the online material will guide you to put together a module storyboard, which is really a week-by-week snapshot of what happens in your module. And you'll use what is available online to analyze this to see if there are any bottlenecks, any issues that pops up that you think might need addressing in your module. Again, you'll share this in the online space and interact with your colleagues. And then finally, for a set of questions, you'll complete your blueprint for your module. This is your dream. What are your hopes for the module? What's your assessment aspirations with this module and the outcomes you want to achieve? And then you'll compare this blueprint, which is your dreams and ideals, with your storyboard, which is your reality, to drill a little deeper into whether there's anything that might need attention in the module that you have chosen. For each of these phases, you'll have the opportunity, and we'll ask you to really do this, to reflect on your learning in the phase. So you're not in your offices, but for those who were there, you might have received a journal like the one in the picture here, received to your department or your office yesterday. Otherwise, you'll get that when you get back here. This is our beautiful PREDAC journal. So once you've completed your teaching perspective inventory, you've analyzed it and interpreted it, and you've shared that on the online forum, and you've gotten feedback from other colleagues on the forum, we want you to sit down for a few minutes and reflect on that whole experience. Not really whether it was nice or not nice, or anything like that, but what have you learned in this experience? So to guide you through this process, we'll make available some reflection questions. For example, in phase 1, our interest is in who am I as a teacher? And one of the reflection questions must be, how does my perspective on teaching or on how learning happens influence the teaching choices that I make? How's that different or similar to other people in my context or people in other contexts? In phase 2, your interest is in your module as it's looking at the moment, your current reality. So here, you looked at issues and concerns in your module, and one of the reflection questions might be, why do these issues concern me? In phase 3, it was about the dreams for your module, and here the interest must be, or the reflection questions might be something like, what does this say about the beliefs, values, and priorities that underpin my teaching? So you see, we'll guide you through this process of reflecting. All of this then leads up to our first, hopefully, contact session this year, which will take place in May. And this session we'll look at designing learning opportunities, specifically with the aim of addressing the issues that you've identified in the previous phase, in phase 3. So you'll come to the face-to-face session with your completed module storyboard, and we'll use that as a starting point for you to start designing learning opportunities for addressing the issues right there at the contact session. So we hope that that day you'll leave with something that you can use as you walk into phase 5, which is the design for learning phase. In this phase, you'll design the learning opportunities that you started conceptualizing in the contact session. And you'll start implementing these. You can do this on your own or in a team, and your team doesn't even have to be in your faculty or department. Only last year we had someone from mathematics team up with someone from psychology. So think creatively here. You can also get feedback during this phase on how your students are experiencing the learning opportunities that you're implementing through techniques such as classroom assessment techniques, which we'll share more with later on in the PREDAC course. Finally, you'll be asked to reflect on both phases 4 and 5 together, because these two really form a unit. And here the question, our interest was in how you will address the issues that you've highlighted. And some of the typical reflection questions might be, why have I chosen this method to address these issues? How will these changes influence me, my students, and learning, teaching, or the society in general? Right. This then leads to our second contact session for this year that should take place in September. Here our interest is in your context, and we'll look at your context from your module through the Stellenbosch University context, the South African context, right up to the international context. And for this session, we'll ask you to do some online preparation looking at some of Stellenbosch University's teaching and learning policies. And we'll ask you to bring your complete your journal to the session with all your journal reflections in it, because now we'll really use it. So please do take those reflections at the end of each phase seriously. So here, during the session, you'll ask to reflect on who your students are, what the context is in which you are teaching, both at SU and nationally, maybe internationally. And this year provides an interesting case in itself already. And you'll use all of this and all that you have done, who you are, your module and discipline, your teaching methods, etc., to write a first draft of your teaching philosophy. So part of the purpose of this session is to demystify this process of writing a teaching philosophy and help you make a start at one. Then in summary, finally, you will report on your design for learning activities, and you'll do this by submitting an abstract for the poster that you'll present at the SOTL conference. This will be done in the online platform. So this is not for the SOTL organizing committee to look at. This is your colleagues that will give you feedback here. It's a bit of a soft landing into this kind of space. You'll create a poster, either individually or as a group, to share what you've done, why you did it, as well as your results and your reflection on how well it worked. And you'll present the poster at the SOTL conference. The SOTL conference takes place from 26 to 28 October, and the poster session is on the 28th of October. So in summary, today is the 18th of March, and what we are doing here is the orientation to PREDAC. We had hoped to meet you all face-to-face, but it's not possible at this point in time. By the 3rd of April, we want you to have completed your teaching perspective profile and to have shared that and have engaged with your colleagues in the online space. By the 6th of May, about a month later, we want you to have completed your storyboards and blueprints and the online interaction there. We hope to meet on the 20th of May. By the 7th of August, we want you to have submitted your abstract for your poster. And remember that the work doesn't need to be complete at this point in time, but give us an idea of what it is that you're going to come and present on. By the 7th of September, we will have our second contact session of this year. 21st of September, we want you to submit your teaching philosophy. And here it is, the CTL colleagues that will give you some feedback. So we're not assessing your philosophy, but we would give you feedback on how, whether there's areas for improvement or how you could strengthen that. By the 12th of October, we want you to submit your posters, which we will, we will print for you free of charge. And then by the 26th of October, we have the SOTL conference. All right, so now, in summary, I want you to take out your beautiful PREDAC journal if you have it. Most of you probably don't. So take out another piece of paper that you can stick into your journal. Take a few minutes. Hopefully you have some time today since you have no lectures. I know you have lots of other things to do, but make a moment in between narrating your lectures or whatever else is happening at this point in time. And ask yourself the following questions and then write on them in your journal. What do I expect of PREDAC? What do I hope to learn in PREDAC? What do I expect to experience in PREDAC? How am I expecting to feel about this process? What might be challenges for me in the PREDAC course? And what might I need help with as I do the PREDAC course? Thank you. We hope to meet you soon, and all of the best in these interesting times.
Can I just add, Hanli, that you please need to complete this forward-looking reflection before you watch the next section on reflection that Karen Cattell is going to present, because she's going to refer back to this. So make sure that you complete this first part of reflection before you go on to the next. See you soon.